We're not sure what amuses Temple quarterback Real Mitchell, but we do know it's all business from here on out. Football is back on North Broad, and the Owls are just a week away from their season opener on the road against Rutgers next Thursday. We'll catch you up on a busy summer for the Cherry and White.
Plus, we'll take you through Temple's 2021 competition and show you why it's nothing to laugh about. Inside the Nest is back for a new season, and it starts right now.
Into a brand new season of Inside the Nest, brought to you by Owl Sports Update. Alongside Jackson Neal, I'm Ray Dunn, and we are thrilled to be guiding you through the 2021 Temple football season.
On today's show, we're going to take a look at the new faces on the Owls roster and go through the team's schedule before going back and forth during No Huddle. But first, let's talk a little August training camp. On August 20th, Temple hosted its first open practice since March of 2020. It was a homecoming for the Owls as they returned to Edward Golson Hall last week following an 11-day stint at SUNY Maritime College in the Bronx. The practice featured both starters and backups getting reps, with new quarterback DeJuan Mathis fielding the first-team snaps. Running backs Edward Sadie and Tavon Ruley were in the backfield for the first unit as well. Now with classes underway and the first game just days out, the team is transitioning to its in-season approach.
And so really hadn't had a day off. We were scheduled to have yesterday off, and they had a couple things on campus that they had to get done. So it really felt like we just wanted to give them a day off. And so we did that on Saturday and then came back and walked through on Sunday and met. And we had a schedule and we stuck to it. And there wasn't stops and starts and people telling us you have to be under tents and can't hit and have to practice in groups. And, losing a preseason and moving your regular season back, none of that exists.
What they've had to say to what they have to adhere to. COVID-19 has been the story of the last 18 months. It was a huge part of 2020, and it's going to be a big part of this coming season as well. Both the American Athletic Conference and Temple University have updated guidelines for handling the virus this fall. Let's start with the conference. The AAC announced during its media day earlier this month that teams unable to play due to COVID-19 outbreaks will forfeit the game. Unvaccinated players will still be subject to testing under the conference's guidance as they encourage players to get vaccinated. On the home front, Temple has made vaccines mandatory for its students by October 15th. Following the announcement, Rod Carey said that they were still working through the ramifications of that announcement and that he would support his players in their decisions.
This offseason, Rod Carey and the coaching staff were busy in the transfer portal. The Owls welcomed in 9 new players from different Division I schools with almost an even split on both sides of the ball. Here are some transfers who should make an immediate impact. Starting with the offense, the Cherry and White bring in a former 4-star prospect at the most important position. Quarterback DeJuan Mathis comes in from the University of Georgia and has already been named the starter heading into Week 1. And Mathis will have plenty of weapons to work with. In the backfield, Ravon Bonner and Iverson Clement both look to get carries in what will be a running back by committee approach. Then in the passing game, Ahmad Anderson will look to emerge as a target behind returning starters Jaden Blue and Randall Jones.
On the other side of the ball, the Owls got a boost defensively up front and in the secondary. The defensive line has long been one of this team's strengths, and the Owls are loaded with Power 5 grabs. Will Rogers appears to be the headliner as the defensive coordinator highlighted him earlier this week as one of the team's best pass rushers. In the secondary, Keyshawn Paul and Cameron Ruiz bring experience to this Temple team. Ruiz started in 6 of Northwestern's 9 games last year, while Paul started in 10 of UConn's 12 games in 2019. UConn didn't have a 2020 season. And while it may seem that the movement is overwhelming, it's just the nature of college athletics now. As Rod Carey always says, the door swings both ways thanks to the portal.
These new players will be in North Jersey in less than 1 week for Game 1 versus Rutgers. Let's bring in Inside the Nest reporter Emily Cochran to break down Temple's 2021 schedule. Hi, Emily.
Thanks, Jackson. When the Owls take on Rutgers, it will be the first non-conference game dating back to the 2019 season. Playing all 12 games this season would be a huge step forward after last season's 7-game COVID-damaged schedule. Here is a breakdown of the 2021 matchups. The Owls open up on the road for weeks 1 and 2, taking that trip up the Turnpike for their season opener against Rutgers, then zipping over to Ohio to take on Akron. Moving into week 3, the Owls will be back at the Link for the first of 3 straight when Boston College comes to town. Following a home game against Wagner in week 4, the Owls will host Memphis in the first conference game of the season. The last game of the first half of the schedule will be an away game against 8th-ranked Cincinnati. It's a very tough start to the conference schedule. Last season, Memphis and Cincy were a combined 17-4. Moving into the second half of the schedule, the Owls head to the Sunshine State to take on South Florida, and just 1 week later, they welcome Central Florida to the Link. The East Carolina Pirates will host the Owls in week 9, and a week later, the team heads back to Philly to square off with Houston. Temple's last away game of its regular season will be against Tulsa, and then they will finish it all out at home against Navy in week 12. It's a very tough conference schedule, especially in October. Jackson and Ray, back to you guys.
Thanks, Emily. It's time for everyone's favorite segment, No Huddle. Ray and I will go back and forth all season about a wide variety of Temple football topics. First up, which position battle has been the most important heading into this season?
I've got to go with the running back room. There's so much talent in that room, from transfers, Iverson Clement, Ravon Bonner from Power 5 schools, and then the returners, Tavon Ruley, who's been banged up a little bit, Edward Sadie, who this program continues to praise week in and week out for what he's been able to do at practice. On top of that, you have Onassis Neely, Kyle Dobbins, both who have been talked about as someone who could take the next step the past couple of years. Will they be able to get themselves in the rotation? You only can play 2 or 3 at a time, and they need to be assets for a new quarterback like Dewan Mathis in getting this offense going early this season.
See, I have to disagree with you here. I'm going to the defensive side of the ball, where I'm looking at the linebacker room right now. There are currently 5 players who are vying for snaps, and they need to get this right. Back in 2019, the Owls had one of the AAC's best units and allowed only 25 points per game. Flashback to going into last year, they lose 3 single-digit players, and that number jumps to 37 points per game. They return leading tackler Will Kwenku, and they need to get the right players surrounding him if they want to get back to playing tough Temple defense.
All right, I see your point. I still think I got the better one. Does the Temple football program, up next here, and Rod Carey get a pass for last year's 1-6 record because of COVID?
See, I don't like to do this, but yes, I do think they get a pass for last year because of COVID. Going into the season during training camp and the regular season, they didn't get to have a normal practice schedule because of restrictions. Then they're one of the hardest hit teams due to COVID, and that's kind of because they're playing in a major city like Philadelphia. But here's the thing. This year, they have a full training camp. He's already had 2 years to build depth on his roster, and third year is always the big time for coaches to take that next step. Rod Carey doesn't have an excuse this season.
I'll agree with you that last year is excused, but I'll push back on the idea that there's any sort of definitive season here. There needs to be continuity within this program. There hasn't been over the last decade. Keeping Rod Carey at the helm and letting him develop the culture he wants with this team will be paramount moving forward. You can't put him on the hot seat before the third year begins. Let's relax, take a step back, and see how they build out from this year and next year moving forward. Then that conversation can begin.
Okay, well, we'll find out if Rod Carey's third year will be a bounce-back season or a repeat of 2020 in less than a week.
Like any no-huddle offense, we're running pretty close to being out of time. Today's show is a teaser for what's to come this fall. Starting Tuesday, we'll have our first live Inside the Nest show at 12 p.m. on TUTV. It will include Rod Carey's first official weekly Zoom conference of the 2021 season. Emily Cochran will be here to talk about Temple's training camp trip to New York. Add this to our Monday sports brief and our live Owl Sports Update shows on Thursday. Your entire semester is covered. Don't miss it.
For Ray Dunn and the entire Inside the Nest crew, I'm Jackson Neal. See you next Tuesday, live on TUTV.